Welcome, one and all, to the wonderful podcast. Guys in their 50s and 60s talking about the 70s and 80s, the retro podcast. And here to join me, as always, is my buddy Al Forte. Hey, Al.
Hello, everyone.
For those of you
doing well.
Yep. And for those of you listening out there in the audio podcasts, and I expect by episode 10, I should have something out there. This is episode 8. And I expect I should have they're all uploaded to a place. I just haven't posted them on there.
An undisclosed place.
Yep. And one of the things I plan to do for all you video people watching, currently the show is on 10 p.m. Saturday Eastern on Hobby's Woodshop channel. And for those of you watching here, I am also soon on my bucket list have similar to my other show, I'm going to do a nice little compilation intro there for a minute or two. And I hope you enjoy that. And I'm going to try to work on my thumbnails as well. Everything, depends on priorities and time. And this is not a business for me. Maybe yet, maybe never. So whatever. You know how it is. So welcome, one and all. Tonight, our topic is the video format wars and basically video technology of the 70s and 80s. We'll be talking about, numerous things. In fact, let's do it in a little bit chronological order. I'm not going to discuss 1-inch industrial tape. That's mostly. I've used that stuff before. It's reel-to-reel tape, video format used in like big Ampex stuff.
Consumer level is what you're going to discuss. Right?
I'm basically going to discuss consumer level. And the first VCR, really, the first one was 1971-ish, around there. U-matic. The U-matic, I'll never forget because, right, folks, for those of you that have been listening, you know this, but for those of you the first time here, there's this thing, at least in Miami and in many parts of the country, called a ham fest or a hamboree or a ham radio convention. Many of you are familiar.
A hamcation.
Hamcation is another one. Yes. They put a lot of stuff on a ham, but basically think of it as a flea market for electronics. And when I'm saying flea market for electronics, I'm saying, in the past, it's been oscilloscopes. Then it moves on to VCRs. And always there was a tube guy that sold tubes there. There was, and then in later years, then it became computers. And once cell phones and came out, for the most part, I hate to say it, ham not died by any means. I'm still keep my active license, K84 PAB.
Mine too.
But they did take a hit. It took one heck of a hit, the popularity and everything. Now, that being said, back in, I don't know, I want to say 85, around there, I went to the, I think back then it was the 25th annual, it was the 20th or 25th annual Miami Hamboree. I think I still got the ticket somewhere, come to think of it. And my buddy John, I'll give a shout out to my buddy John, who works at NASA at the moment.
Hey, John.
Huh?
No, I was saying, hey, John.
Hey, John. But I don't even know if he watches the show. He's too busy. But so he and I would go to the Ham Fest, and with another buddy of mine, John, who passed away, and that's where I first met Carl. I'm just shouting out names here at random, but for those of you who know the Miami Hamboree, Carl and John are very, very big names. Anyway, so John, not the big name John, but the John that I know, we would. He was a geek, and so am I. He was telling me all about how I could buy video recorders really cheap. This is come to think of it, now I know the year. It was 1981. We were it was my sophomore year, and I wanted to get a VHSs were still pretty pricey, but U-matic machines. I can get a U-matic for $50.
$50.
$50. It was a 10-year-old U-matic machine. And I got tapes and tape, about $1 a tape. So I stocked up on those tapes. Those tapes had a maximum recording time of 45 minutes.
Wow.
So every Star Trek TNG episode that aired in the early 80s basically was, or late 80s, or whatever, it was split into 2 tapes.
Do you still have them?
No, I got rid of that ages ago. It was good stuff though. Yeah, because I would have loved to have relived the commercials.
Oh yeah,
that's the good stuff about all these tapes. I mean, you watch all these old shows. I got some old VHS tapes that I still have, and it's the commercials that are fascinating. And I mean, some of these commercials are not available because they were, they're all dumped back then. Anyway. So what happens? U-matic was my thing. I carried a monstrous U-matic tape. But then we got into, of course, the video wars. Beta versus VHS. Now, I did a report for it in high school in the early 80s, but it occurred in the early 70s. Basically, in 1972, I believe, Philips came out with VHS. In 1974, Sony came out and shared with this new format called Beta. They consumerized it in 75. So in 75, all the Betamaxes were going out. Philips around the same time, 74, 75, had the and earlier had the VHS format. Now, originally, I read, and it was erroneous, the information, but I read that the reason why, I had heard from friends that who hearsay, because we didn't have Google or anything like that, that the reason why these formats died, rather why Beta died, basically Beta was big in South America, and Philips was big, or rather VHS was big in the States, assumedly because Philips was an American corporation and Sony, that's not the case. The case turns out, oh, and by the way, folks, if you guys want to see a really good source, let me place it down on I'll give some shout outs to people. Let me place down, because there's this channel that I watch on occasion, and I saw a Beta versus VHS show on his channel. Here it is right here.
Yeah. Jim Dockrell says that Beta was a better format than VHS.
Yep. That's exactly right. So this YouTube channel, this guy, Technology Connection, he is, I think he's got a million or so viewers. Fantastic. He does basically a lot of what we do, but more on the technical side. Everything having to do with the history of particular things, of VHS, of records, he goes way back to history of vinyl and even before. Well, anyway, not to get sidetracked again. Beta, never, not in this channel. Beta was phenomenally superior. Well, not phenomenally. It was superior. It had 250 lines of resolution, and VHS had 240. However, and that was one of the many different. It was more than that. Basically, the quality. I lived it, and so did many of you. I had both machines, and both machines, I got to tell you, the Beta was far superior on regular play. Here's the problem: Beta tape, 1 hour, and this is the real reason why it died. Beta tape, 1 hour. A VHS tape was, I believe, the first ones were an hour and a half. Might have been 2 hours. 2 hours.
I didn't like the size of the Betas. I preferred the size of the VHS, which was smaller.
Funny enough, no. The Beta was smaller.
No, the other way around.
You prefer the Beta?
The smaller one.
Yes, that's the Beta tape. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Betamax was smaller than VHS. I also preferred the smaller one, and I preferred the quality. However, I ended up buying a VHS for one main reason, and is like, basically it's quantity over quality. What happened was, shortly after, in the 70's, they went to the SP, the LP, the long play.
Yeah,
they went to the long play. It was long play. So they had the regular play, then they had the long play or extended play. It depends on which brand you buy. Some is called super long play, SLP, some is called LP, some is called EP, extended play.
Yeah, extended play. I remember that.
There were basically 3 speeds. On a T120 tape, 120 for 120 minutes. On a T120 tape, you can get either 2 hours, 4 hours, or 6 hours. I loved putting 6 hours, even though the quality was garbage.
Right.
I loved putting 6 hours on a tape, and I was a hoarder even then, and I would hoard all those Star Trek episodes or whatever episodes I recorded on my TV live. Boom, we got to record anything we want. Boom, to play it back later. I loved, hey, I was a cheapskate. I wanted to buy a bunch of, so I did that. Then when I found out that they made a SLP tape, a super long play, I mean the big tape, the T160, which all it was the problem with the T160 was a thinner tape, but it was basically 1/3 more tape. So you could record a full 8 hours, for those of you that didn't live in those times. 8 hours in slow mode, or super slow mode, and in SLP mode, and that way.
That was the T180 in LP mode.
160 T160 in it depends again. Depends on
7 hours 47
LP or SLP, depends on which, because one of them had SP, LP, and SLP. Another one had SP, EP, and LP. I still remember. I can't believe I still remember my portable JVC video recorder. Well, I call it portable, but it wasn't really. It was portable, but I had to have a camera that as big as, and we'll get to the cameras in a second. But oh my God! Okay, let me share with you guys a story because. Oh, go ahead, Al.
I was going to say the length of the actual recording time depended on the formatting that you used. If you used NTSC, and the other one that I can't remember. PAL, exactly, PAL.
Well, the formatting, PAL is basically everything in the United States is NTSC.
Right, everything is NTSC.
Yeah, and PAL was down in the others. But so what happened? I was at FIU. I'll never forget. This was 1984. Was my second year. I learned something very valuable. Again, you guys today, you kids today, you got it good. You sign up online for a class and you're done.
And never show up. Yeah.
Well, no, that's they all hate that. But back in 1984, this is the way it worked. Graduate students, at least at FIU, graduate students got to sign in, to elect their classes a few days early. All undergraduates, all of them. opened up at 5 a.m. at the registrar's office. And I'm saying you had to stand in line at the registrar's office. You could stand in line as early as you wanted to get your classes. I was 5th in line. John was 4th in line. We went there together. We decided to make a night of it. And there were already 3 people. This is 11 p.m. the night before. We decided to pull all-nighters. By 6 a.m., I'm sorry, not 5. It was 6 when it opened. By 6 a.m., I can't describe to you, but suffice to say that it's a rather large building, and the line snaked around the perimeter of the building, and so it was a good amount of students already there at 6 a.m. because we learn as students. We're intelligent students, and we know from the year before that if you want the good teachers and you want the good classes or the classes at your comfortable times, you better darn well get there early or the other people take them. 30 seats in a class fills up real fast. Anyway, I was there, and I'll never forget. I had a bunch of Star Trek episodes, and I had a bunch of other stuff. And John and I were sitting down. We brought lawn chairs and stuff. And then when it came close to opening, John and I took turns walking the stuff back to the car and locking it away. And then we walked in. That last 15 minutes was brutal because we didn't have all our stuff with us. That was a blast. So good times. I'll never forget that. That's
the best of times.
Best of times. So, remembering these things, that's what this show's all about. To remember, to hopefully spark your mind to remember some old, things related to that. Another memory of mine is I actually did a report for one of my classes, for my history class, on the Beta and VHS wars. I don't remember. I forgot most of everything about it, so I had to research it all again for this show. But I lived through it, so I do remember. I lived through part of it. I imagine, Al, you lived through being 5 years older. You were a little.
You lived. Are you calling me old? Is that it? Are you calling me old?
Why, yes, I am. But that's the pot calling the kettle black. So
I probably still have some tapes that were recorded from back then. I know I have some pre-recorded tapes, I'm sure. I'm scared, though, to stick them into any device. I even have some VCRs, and I know there's possibly VCRs that you can go buy still, but because it's going to probably pull the tape out. And what good is it if you can't see it? So it's
actually they hold up pretty well. See, I've been married 22 years. In June it'll be 22 years, and I my wedding was filmed on VHS. I recently, like 2 or 3 years ago, I finally got around to. I took the VHS. I put it. I went the long way around. I have a VHS to DVD recorder.
Yes.
So I just pop the VHS in, pop a blank DVD, and boom, and record it. Then I took the DVD, popped it into my computer, and then just ripped it. And so I've got my wedding on my computer, and it's funny, which brings me to the next subject. Everybody now in today's day and age, you'll notice the background here. Let me put it full screen here. Notice the background that I have behind me.
Is that your video library?
No, this is some random picture, but most of us of this age remember, obviously, Blockbuster.
Yeah,
and,
wait.
Yeah, there you go. Pull out your card.
My Blockbuster card. Okay, this is my card. Don't be stealing my numbers.
That's your old address. So
I think it was. I want to say it was Jim Doctorow. I could be wrong, but he was saying that he still has fines that he hasn't paid for by not rewinding his tapes when he took it back to Blockbuster.
That is fantastic. By the way, let me give a shout out to all the crowd out there, folks in audio land. If you're listening to this after the fact, we do broadcast live on and in video format at Javi's Woodshop, 10 p.m. Currently 10 p.m. The time may change, but
9 p.m. Eastern.
10 p.m., 9 p.m. No, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, and we've got a nice little crowd out there today. Let's see. Good evening, Mitchell. Good evening, Jim. Jim Bashirs is out there.
Don't forget Batman.
And of course, we got Michael King out there. Batman.
Alex Ramos, sup?
Alex Ramos, my cousin, is out there today. It's good to see you. Chris Nealon. We got Joe Dirty Knobs. We got Paul Stewart. I said
Be kind, rewind.
Be kind, rewind. We got Dave Hart out there. We've got it's a nice little crowd tonight. And I'll tell you, be kind, rewind is right. How many times, I mean, did I go into a Blockbuster store and I remember for a while they were charging 50 cents if you didn't rewind the tape.
And that was a lot of money back then.
Well, it was decent money back then, especially to a teenage kid who's renting, God knows, like 6 at a time. And then we got, then we had all the different, I remember, okay, so it's kind of video related, sort of. Can you remember any of your cassette rewinders, or did you have one?
Yeah. You put it in and it.
Yeah, I had 2 or 3 cassette rewinders. You just drop it in, you press it down.
Yep, exactly.
I had a car and I had a plane one stuff. Let me swap. There we go. Swap locations here. So when I see you,
so
we can talk to each other here.
That means that if I put you over here, then I'm talking to you. Yeah,
that's
there
right.
we go.
That's right. And you as well. That makes more sense, right? Anyway, so what happened was video was the main reason ultimately, as we stated, that I got a bug here. Little gnat. The main reason was
if you kill a gnat, it's a not gnat, right?
It's a not gnat, of course. Man.
I'm glad they're not coming here for humor, right?
I'm telling you. Well, it's dad humor. It's our type. It's our age of humor, so that works. So anyway, the reason these things died more than any other reason, it's multiple reasons, but the reasons the VHS won out, it was twofold. Number one was price. The VHS was considerably cheaper than Sony. It's just like Apple and IBM all over again. I'm not going to get into Apple and IBM, but basically PC, or rather IBM PC, if you want to, back then I still call it IBM. But
yeah, IBM compatibles. Ooh,
IBM compatibles. And that's the thing. See, Apple makes a higher quality, or back then, no one can deny that it was a higher quality product. It was far more. However, it was very limited. It was sold by one company only, whereas IBM shared, there were compatibles up the wazoo. And there was a lot more going on, so it's not just that. But that can relate very closely to the VHS beta wars, because basically Sony, while they did share their technology, there were far more VHS supporters out there, and much cheaper for multiple reasons. So bottom line is, because they were cheap, I know that was the reason I went to VHS. Number one, because it was cheap. Number two, because it was cheap. Number one, because of the longevity that you can record. I can record 6 hours, or 4 in many cases. I can record 4 Star Trek episodes, very decent quality, on a tape, and there it is. And then we go into well, before we go into CDs, CD video, or because that's CD video is prior to DVD. Before we go into CD video CDs, actually, let's talk about a little bit about the different formats. Like, I still have, in fact, it's right here. Hang on a second. If I can pull this out without, let me unplug this. Here we go.
Drop it on your noggin.
Ooh, look what we got here.
Ooh.
A VA, let me see. I'm sorry. A mini DV. Mini DV. Oh, and wait, let me see. Hang on a second. Let me see where I got the other one. It's in my Case Logic bag. I'm not going to yank it out now, but up here I can tell you, because recently I converted a bunch of or ripped a bunch of VHS-C, 8mm high 8, and mini DV. All three formats. I have a camera, a player for each, as well as VHS. I don't have a player for beta because I never owned beta. But all the other formats, I still got tapes, and I still got those. Oh, and for those of you going back 1970 and before, yeah, I do have a converter for 8mm film.
Actually, I have some of that, and was actually touching the 8mm recorder, the camera.
Yeah.
This last week.
Yep. My camera's somewhere in a box, both of my cameras, and both of my projectors are too. Yeah. I believe recently, here's the funny part, you could still get bulbs for those projectors.
Really?
They still make them. All types of bulbs. There's companies out there that make them. But what I did was I bought a movie maker. It's called Wolverine Movie Maker. I've got a video on it, and it's one of my most popular videos. I did a review on it. It's a fantastic little machine. It takes frame by frame a picture, and converts it to pop in a little SD card, and that SD card is good for about 800 feet of film. Those rolls were 50 feet, and you could get more than that. About 1,600 feet of film, because you can get about 600 to 800 on a big, huge, on a 7-inch or 9-inch.
And you're talking about 8mm, right?
I'm talking about 8mm film. But going back to video, what formats did you guys have? You guys had what were you all fond of? Are you fond of, was it just VHS for you? I imagine a lot of you have had the before we get into those little tiny mini DVDs, what was your camcorder of choice? Was it a mini?
Says he's got a Panasonic camera that uses full-size VHS tapes.
Yep.
Great quality, and you can play videos on it to the TV.
Yep. I remember those. Well. That was a fantastic little camera. Those were fantastic cameras. My first one was a Panasonic. I want to say it was a PV1000. I want to say that. Let me look up real quick. See, PV1000, Panasonic. I think. Oh, that wasn't it. Boy, either that or they changed their name. Yeah, there it is. Panasonic Omnivision VHS VCR PV1000. Let me see if I could see that was a. Okay. See, I remembered the number, but I didn't remember that was the recorder that I had at home. I had a Panasonic. I think now I'm thinking NV1000. I want to say. Let me see if.
Yeah, I had 8mm in the 70s also, and probably still have some 8mm film of my grandma back in the 70s, and there's no telling what else. I need to probably dig it up one of these days.
Yeah,
maybe that'll be a stream or something like that.
I had a small little portable. It was a portable VHS, and it was fantastic. That's the one I took to the FIU and stuff. And you reminded me, Dave, because you said about the was it Dave that talked about the camera? But you reminded me because I had the camera that I had was just a pure video out camera. So it was like hang on a second. Got a little hang on. I gotta tell Patrick I'm in the middle of my retro show.
I think that Dirty Knobs was talking about his age because he said when he was a kid he had 1mm film. So I think that's what he meant.
There you go. No, but I'll tell you that was a great format, VHS, and VHS-C I was always very fond of. Of course, mini DV was a newer and far better technology, and I really went into that, and everything. 8mm was better than VHS-C by far.
So compact, right?
Compact, yeah. The 8mm digital film, and then digital 8, and then there was, and then of course there was mini DV, and I had all those formats, and it was fantastic. And until there you go, you got it looks like a C. No, that's a mini.
It's an 8mm.
It's an 8. Yeah, it's a digital 8.
It's a digital 8. Yes.
There you go. Yep. And I wonder where my
video and data. In fact, the data tapes worked better with video because they were so much better quality. So if you got data tapes, the video, and there's video on these things too.
Look at that, folks. Brand spanking new in the package, 90 LP, a mini DV tape. Ooh, from Fuji.
That's a collector's item.
That's a video. I've got.
How many minutes could you record on that?
It says 90 minutes in LP mode. But yeah, a lot of those. I mean, those video camcorders. They didn't. Most of them were about an hour. So it wasn't that much that recorded. But let's see, what other formats were there? Can anybody else remember other formats? Good evening, Al. Anybody remember any other formats other than VHS, mini DV? I'll tell you one thing that I do remember, but this is more on the technical, on the audio side. They use those mini DVs for along with that DAT for audio. Heck, they used for a while there were some players out there that took the VHS and those such formats and used them for pure audio recording, because anything that can record video can not just on a little sync track, but interwoven in the video. That's a lot of data, in the film, in that format. But let's see, those were the competing technologies, and then came.
Yeah, Dave Hart was talking about Laserdisc, but I don't remember seeing a Laserdisc recorder. Have you ever seen a Laserdisc recorder?
No. All Laserdiscs, as far as I know, all Laserdiscs were because by the time because the next big format after after beta, and I'm glad he mentioned it because I almost completely forgot it. I still have it's behind me, behind my green screen in the closet. I still have a Laserdisc player. It's a combination Laserdisc, video CD, DVD player. It'll play all three. It's more modern one because my original Laserdisc player bit the dust, but I still have a bunch of Laserdiscs. I still have the original Star Wars on Laserdisc. I have Trading Places on Laserdisc. I have Eddie Murphy Delirious on Laserdisc. Robin Williams. I had a lot of comedy records. I had a bunch of them, and I went crazy when Laserdiscs were going out of style. I went crazy buying them up for $1. I bought like boxes of Laserdiscs because I had some good movies. Groundhog Day. I bought. It was fantastic. I loved Groundhog Day, and I would watch that thing over and over. The annoying part was if you didn't have a double-sided Laserdisc player, you had to flip the Laserdisc over because they could only record about an hour and a half, I believe it was. I forgot the exact number, but it depends. Again, it depends on the quality because it was variable. But Laserdiscs were the most beautiful, beautiful, crisp format. That one to me was. I mean, I cannot explain to a kid, to someone, and when I say kid, I mean somebody under 35, under 40. I can't explain to a kid the joy of going from
tape to Laserdisc.
From tape to Laserdisc. I can't explain the joy of going from it's the same thing of going the first time we went to HD television. Going from analog to HD. It's like when it wasn't pixelated. But
do you remember, and this kind of goes along with the Laserdisc, what the first arcade game that used a Laserdisc was?
Oh.
And it was the neatest thing because of the quality, because the fact that it could skip to different scenes depending on how well you swung your sword or how well you jumped.
I want to say Gauntlet, but no, that's not right.
It's close. Right. It's closed. It was called Dragon's Lair, and it was
Dragon's Lair.
Dirk Pitt, I think. I can't remember the guy's name, but the hero, was Dirk something. I think Dirk Pitt.
That's fantastic. One of the episodes in the future that we are going to have is arcade games of the 70s and 80s, folks. So expect that to be a very action-packed one. Yes. Particularly because both Al and I have our own little RetroPie arcade games, and I'll probably set up my RetroPie arcade game for that show. Yes and no. I'll probably set it up off to the side because many of those games are copyrighted, so we can't be showing them or let alone playing the stuff. But we can talk about them all we want.
I'll pretend like I'm playing mine over here. I'm actually working on my cabinet right now, and I'm going to do a shameless plug. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. on Twitch, Kilroy79763, I'm going to try to cut out where the display is going to go, and of course, it's going to be an LCD, display. But anyway, the cabinet is coming together, and
sweet. I made the mistake. I don't know if I was semi-rushed. I mean, I made a cabinet, and it's fantastic. Okay, the base of the cabinet is fantastic. The problem was I was in a rush to finish it before I headed up and assembled it up north because I had it in my container for a while when I was visiting, and I just spray painted it black on the raw plywood, and I'm not a perfectionist, or although some people would call me that, but it doesn't look anywhere near as good as it should. So I'm going to I've taken it all apart, and probably I'm going to try this week to lacquer it all up as best as possible.
Get it shiny.
I'm going to get it super smooth and shiny. Because if I don't do that, if I don't do that, I might as well just put a wrap on it, because this is just, I don't like how it looks. It looks like it's not like a kindergartner did it. And a lot of people say, "Oh, it looks great. It looks nice." It's not the ideal cabinet for me. I want, but one thing that I have learned, it takes time to make something right. I mean, we all know this.
Yes, it does.
There's a lot of those people that sell those, that all they do is make those little portable cabinets and stuff. And I never wanted one of those because I wanted mine to be unique. But let me tell you, for what is it, $150 or so, something like that, or for $200, you get it with all the controls. All you need to do is put the guts inside it. That's a fantastic little project.
There's a guy here locally that sells the full height cabinets. Sometimes they've got 1,000 games in it.
Yeah,
but it ranges from I'd say from $800 to $2,000 for an arcade machine.
Yep. In parts, including the RetroPie and all the stuff, I've got probably $300 to $400 in the thing, because there's a lot of little add-ons and stuff. I mean, the buttons are cheap. This is cheap. That is cheap. But put it all together, and cheap plus cheap plus cheap becomes expensive.
The joystick and the buttons were $40.
$40.
The wood, well, we were talking about wood being expensive lately. The wood, maybe another $40, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah.
The pie is another $20. So,
which RetroPie did you get? I got the 4B. That's the thing.
So no, this is the 3B.
Yeah, I got the 4B, and it's $85. And then, because I wanted to, and then I bought the extra memory for it. You got the card, which is another $70 with the games. And, so it starts racking up, and then you want to do stuff up nice, whatever. But then add in paint, lacquer, and all that. But anyway, and then put in your time, and there you've got at least $200 or $300. So if you're going to make one for somebody, you got to charge minimum, like you said, $800 for something like that. Now that's for a full-size cabinet. That's a decent price. But anyway, as always, we're getting a little off track here. Let's go back to the my buddy, my cousin Alex, his son. He went to go visit me and we were out walking around and talking, and the whole entire time we were out there, his son was just having at it. I forgot which one. It was some helicopter game that he was. Forgot which game it was. But anyway, let's see here. Dirk Pitt, Clive Cussler. Yep.
Yes, Dirk Pitt.
Yep. It adds up. You can buy parts opposed to buying it already built. But yeah, absolutely, Frankie. I mean, you buy it and build it yourself. I mean, look, like I said, you could probably get away with for under 400, you could buy it with a really nice portable case. See, here's what I did with my case. I designed my case to fit and slip inside, and I'm going to build the other half after I get my shop together. But I built a desktop arcade.
See, that's what mine is.
That slips into a full-size arcade.
Yeah. Now, there wasn't that much forethought put into this.
No, I went all out. I went all out because what I want to do is I want to make a full-size arcade, and the arcade will hold. I was going to put the refrigerator, a portable refrigerator underneath, but it looks like a full-blown arcade. You just open the door and you got your fridge there, but it looks like a full-blown arcade, key slots and everything, and all the although they don't work, you just got to press the button. But anyways, yeah, fantastic. Apocalypse Now. That's it. That's I think that might have been the game. Come to think of it, I'm trying to remember what it was.
The helicopter one.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but I remember him going through a field and shooting a bunch of. I don't know. I'm a Robotron. See, it's a different age for me because those games they come packed. But we're getting a little off the subject. Not that we care, because we're there's not much to talk about. There's not much left in the VHS beta world. Laserdisc, absolutely. It was a fantastic format. But the problem with Laserdisc is it was all timing. The Laserdisc for me was the most beautiful thing in the world. It was so crisp, it was so clean. And then comes video CD and a blink of an eye after, DVDs. I mean, the first generation DVDs. And
Bluetooth.
No, but well before,
not
Blu-ray.
Bluetooth. Sorry, Blu-ray.
Yeah, well before Blu-ray. The just first gen DVDs. And there was single layer DVDs, and then there were later double layer DVDs, and then two-sided double layers, and then there was Blu-ray and all that. But in the beginning, it was just a DVD format. You could play a whole movie on one side of a DVD, whereas the Laserdisc, you'd often need two double-sided Laserdiscs. You flip them over. You had to be really careful with those, And
I mean, because you didn't want to get them dirty. You didn't,
want to drop. You didn't want to shine. They were exactly the size of an LP.
Yeah.
For those of you who remember LPs, they had, in fact, you could buy an LP sleeve and put the DVD inside it. You could buy an LP record would fit in and vice versa. They were 12 by 12. So they were, it was a fantastic, except, thicker, obviously, really good and thick.
They were a little high priced for my taste back then.
And
it cost a little more than what I wanted to pay for them.
Well, I came from a well-to-do family, so we, I bought one of these and I bought one of these and I didn't buy every movie on the planet, but I bought every movie that I wanted to buy. I remember they were $35 a movie. Yep. Then when they were going out of style and DVD was coming in, I said, "Oh my God, look at these boxes of all of my favorite movies, and they're $1 to $5 each." And I would, again, buy tons of those boxes. I would love it. I love it. Technology going out the door. Hey, it's easy. It's just like people now buy DVDs, and what for when you can download any movie you want and it's cheaper than a DVD? Because I mean, you buy, all the latest movies coming out now. What is it? $15 to download a movie. You go to the movies and you're paying $10-12 a person. Well, not that we can in COVID times, but if and when it comes back, if it comes back.
Well, now you can go down to the store and get Red Disc, and is it Red Disc? Redbox? Yeah, Redbox. You can get rentals there, which is what people do. That's the current way to go get rentals. Whereas back in my time, when I was a young whippersnapper, we would go to Blockbuster.
Yeah, but see, I don't know. I don't get that. I mean, I understood that when Blockbuster closed and they had all the Redbox things, and I understand. And maybe some people are stuck in their ways. I certainly understand that. But why would you, in today's day and age, when everything is downloadable, why would you? I mean, unless you don't have a broadband internet connection, maybe that's
yeah.
But there's a lot of people that do, and I mean, I remember when Netflix. Oh boy, and I had a Netflix account. Remember the first Netflix accounts?
They used to send you DVDs.
You would have up to 3 DVDs total.
Yeah.
So I'd get 3 DVDs. I'd play them or rip them. I didn't say that. And send them back. It was strictly for my own backup purposes, and then I delete them right away. So I'd send them back and get another batch. So.
Folks, you see behind him right there, that is the remnant of his Netflix DVD.
My Netflix connection. Yeah, sure. The beautiful thing is statute of limitations is run out. So
for those on listening to the podcast, Javi has got a background that looks like a library full of DVDs.
It is basically, it looks like a background of a. Oops, sorry.
Nope, that's me. Hi, folks.
It's not.
Well, looks like we lost Javi.
Oh, you didn't lose me. I was still here. Hang on a second. There we go.
Solo Javi.
So it's actually a video store. It's background of a video store because I see some posters up on the top, and with racks and racks and racks of DVDs all over.
Yeah.
So yeah. But let me see. Go back up to the comments here. Let's see what we got out here.
There's somebody that's still out there that delivers DVDs still, Netflix DVDs. Who did I see? Just put it out there. It was Dave Hart. Dave Hart says he
oh my! Chris Nealon said his. I'm scrolling back here. Chris Nealon said his dad threw away all the 8mm and Super 8 films when he retired, moved to Florida in the 90s. Oh, what a shame. That hurts. That hurts. But I've been there. The Scotch tape over the tab. Yes, Mitchell.
Right.
Yeah, he hit it right on the nose.
Exactly.
And we didn't talk about that with the cassettes, but the Write Protect.
That's right.
I mean, there are Write Protect. I mean, there's kids today don't realize there is a Write Protect tab on an SD card.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they go, "Hey, my SD card doesn't work." And,
yeah.
But
that's an excellent point.
We had Write Protect. I can't tell you. I'll go back to cassettes. I can't tell you how many cassettes from either a religious group or a demo, somebody playing a demo song or whatever that people would give me, and I would take all of their cassettes. Even some people sometimes. Oh, I'll never forget. I'd go to Kmart instead of Walmart. We didn't have Walmarts down in Miami back then. It was all Kmart. But I would go to whatever cheap store and look in the throwaway, with all the old songs, and look for the longest cassettes that I could find. Ones packed the most. I go, oh, this is 2 hours of or whatever, however many minutes, 90 minutes of music. Buy it for $1, take it home, put tape over it, and it was cheaper than buying a blank, cheaper than buying a cassette.
Yeah. Yes.
And 9 times out of 10, those were higher quality. They just, they popped the Write Protect out, and people didn't realize they were Write Protect tabs.
Right.
The average person.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the VHS.
I have to bring this up because throughout those years, and we might have talked a little bit about this last time, there was one company that really, really holds a place in my heart because they did the different formats as the format aged, and that's Columbia Records and Tape. Columbia
Records and Tape Club.
Yeah,
I'll never forget that. I mean, if any of you guys have ever seen the news radio episode where Beth, for those of you news radio fans, where Beth subscribes to the Columbia and record tapes, it was it's one of the funniest ones I've ever seen because it really brought me back to my youth because a lot of us did that. A lot of us, I want 12, I want 30 or 40 of those things. Yeah, I could deal with the rest of them, and I'd never give it a second thought until now I have 4 different accounts. Yeah, sure, I got 48 tapes, but I got 4 different accounts now that I got to buy 4 tapes a month.
Yeah.
The deal was, for those of you who don't know the deal, Columbia Records and Tapes, it started with cassettes, it moved to DVDs or CDs, and then I don't know if they were around for DVDs, but it started with cassettes and then it was CDs. And what they would do is, with records as well.
Yes.
They would send you, say, cassettes, 12 cassettes. You pick the artist. They had a huge list. You'd pick the artist, kind of like the way magazine sales almost work nowadays. But anyway, and then you pick 12 of them. Then for the next 12 months, you commit to paying $15 a month or $12 a month, whatever it was, and getting one tape free every month. So you basically get 12 plus another 11, that's 23 tapes. Oh, and they always give you that extra one, so you get the 13th. So it's an even 24 tapes for, well, it turns out coming up to, let's see. So if I do my math correctly, it's $15 a month times 12, plus a penny. So $180. Now divide that by 24. You're paying an average of $7.50 a tape in the end. And many of those tapes back then were, worth anywhere between $5 and $10. But the bottom line is, it was a good deal for most people but people like, let me tell you about that news radio episode. For those of you that haven't seen it, Beth basically, try not to make this a long story. She subscribed so many times under so many different aliases. She brought in boxes and boxes and boxes of CDs, and she was hiding them everywhere because the Columbia Records and Tape guy, there was a Columbia Record and Tape guy after her. He goes, is Miss Johansson Johnson here? Or, they came up with a bunch of different names, Miss Joan of Arc, Miss whatever. I mean, just crazy names. And every time he goes, is your name Beth something, Joan of Arc, this and that, this and that. And so in the end of the episode, I'll spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, in the end of the episode, he goes, here. He goes, what's this? It's a check for whatever it was, $5,000, $10,000. What's this for? He goes, for you never call us again. Because basically it would cost more in litigation to try to get all that back than and she kept on. It was so funny. It was a great episode, though.
Dave, the shipping charges were brutal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It was that's the key.
One little tidbit, Avi, and you'll like this, but the formats that they started with, the first format that the Columbia House started with was in '59. It was a reel-to-reel recording, and then they went to 8-tracks.
That's fantastic.
Then they went to cassettes.
I remember 8-tracks. Yeah. I had cassettes and CDs. Mm-hmm. I had subscriptions from them in cassettes and CDs. One or two or three or four at a time at the most, but well, back then. But most of the time, it got to the point where even with my reel-to-reel player up here that I have, my reel-to-reel player, I would leave it on for in very, very low, slow play, which you could record practically 24 hours on a big tape. And I think it's 1.5 is the speed, as opposed to 24 inches per second. It was 1.5 inches, whatever the case may be. I would record the radio for an entire day, and then I'd just go through the trouble of copying to cassettes. It wasn't the best quality in the world, but it was enough for me in my car, I always had a back when we used to make tapes. We used to make, but that's audio. So let's back to video for the last minute or so of our show. Let me see here. Let me read any comments.
Video killed the radio star.
Video killed the radio star.
It's somebody mentioned out there earlier.
Yeah, and it's absolutely true. It's amazing how we may get into that one day or many days, how one technology kills another. Mm-hmm. I mean, I talked earlier about cell phones in another show, cell phones killing
payphones.
Well, payphones, yes. They definitely killed payphones, but they killed ham radio pretty much. I mean, you can argue that ham radio isn't dead, and it's partially true. And there are still, races out there. And for those of you who don't know what ham radio is, it's just, and there's still fox hunts and there's still clubs, but not like there were before.
Oh no, I agree. Not
like there were before. And I mean, I've lost most of my, ham radio gusto for. I got 2 brand new ham sets sitting in a, and I've got my Bofang over here, my portable. I bought one $30.
Yeah.
It's a portable $30. It does more than my ICOM W2 did at 10 times the cost.
Is it 2 meters or is it 40? 40.
It's 2 meters and 440.
440.
It's dual band.
Yeah.
Dual band. It's got well. Anyway, I won't get into all of that because.
Can you program it? Is it programming in Chinese?
Fully programmable?
No, but I mean, does the menu?
Well, that's the hard. Well, the good part is you got a lot of people out there who have gone through the trouble already, and they've. You could do with YouTube. There's anything, and they've got some programs out there that can actually.
Yeah.
Programs that people have written, aside from the fact that of the program that came with it, that can fully program this radio. You could program all the offsets. You could program all the PL tones. I mean,
stuff, yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
You could scan TV with it. I mean, it's a full blown scanner. I unlock. I had a buddy of mine who set it up for the Metro, the police radios and stuff like that, so to listen on police bands, the legal ones you can listen to, not the, and I've got my ham radio license, so I can legally listen to all of them that are not encrypted. And they has encryption as well, but
they do frequency hopping and stuff now. It's really almost impossible.
It can do trunk. It can do trunk. It can do frequency hopping as well. I mean, it does everything. I mean, it's
the Bofang.
The Bofang.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
It's not just simplex anymore. But anyway, so yeah, we use. Let's see. Dave said we used VHS tapes and ADAT machines. Yep. Multi-track recorder use. That's what I was talking about earlier. That we in audio DAT machines that VHS tapes, 8 tracks at a time where you can sync them all together. Yep. It's incredible. Yep. Shortwave is pretty much gone because of streaming. It's absolutely right. There's another one. I mean, I'll tell you, the internet has done a lot of good, but it's and I said this before and I'll say it again. For all the kids listening out there, again, my definition of a kid on this show is anybody under 40. For all the kids out there, this is a completely different world, and
even from 20 years ago, actually,
nothing wrong with it. I can dream of nostalgia, but I'll take this world any day over the. The technology that we have nowadays. I love Adventureland. I'll put one example. I love the 2-word text adventures. It was a feeling that, what I wish would happen? This is what I wish would happen.
What do you wish would happen, Hobby?
I wish somebody within my lifetime, hopefully, will develop a technology, and the sooner the better, develop a technology like the one used in the movie, was it called Brainstorm? Yeah, Brainstorm. Now, obviously, that's a dangerous technology, but the movie, I think it was Brainstorm, yeah, with Christopher Walken and it was Natalie Wood's last movie. This particular movie, for those of you that haven't seen it, there was and I know we're going a little over, but this movie had, speaking of movies in the 70s and 80s, it was fantastic. What's that?
1983, in fact.
1983. It was a fantastic movie. What happened was Christopher Walken and Natalie Wood developed this machine that you would put in on your head. It would record brainwave patterns. And then you put it on places on somebody else's head, and it would play back. So you would record and play back what the other person actually felt, experienced, through their own perception. That I would love to. I mean, I would love to have something like that, but
there's something similar. There's something similar now.
Well,
virtual reality.
Yeah, but virtual reality is not the same.
No, I'm not saying
I would love to. I would love to share, without damaging the person. I would love to share the experiences that I still remember of sitting with my best friends on a couch, pulling an all-nighter from high school. Just it was weekend or it was on vacation, or maybe not some nights. And we'd be up all night obsessed with solving one of Scott Adams' adventure games, like Adventureland or one of the Adventureland games. You know, go west. You're in a forest. What do you see?
Right,
you see trees. You know, go tree. You climb the tree. Chop tree with what? With axe. You know, I mean,
the Zork series was my favorite.
The Zork. I mean, Zelda. I mean, all of these different, all of these things that we've experienced are fantastic experiences for the first time.
Yep.
That I would imagine I would love to experience stuff that people in 100 years old experienced when they were a kid, like riding a train or whatever for the first time, even though trains have been around for a lot longer, et cetera, or dancing the Charleston, or even living through the Great Depression. Whatever feeling is out there, and talking about something is one thing, but you can make a very good argument for experiencing something. And here in our little nostalgia channel, all we're doing is just bringing up some of those fond memories for yourself. But it'd be nice if we could share them en vivo.
And we do get some interaction on them too. Some people have been lamenting that their
absolutely
dad threw away, theirs, and some people are.
And that's the thing, and some of the people, like Mitchell, you can really connect by just some of the things that are said out there. When one or two people constantly say stuff that you forgot, but boy, it's so strong in your mind, whatever the case may be, and you make a connection with them and go, oh, they experienced that as well, and so much so that they remembered it. I should have remembered that.
Yes.
And that's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. So, folks, thank you for joining us again. Next week is going to be the Cola Wars. We'll be talking about Coke and Pepsi. And, we're going to bring up all the other old colas. We're going to bring up Fanta, RC, Royal Crown,
Dr. Pepper,
Mr. Pibb, I'm part of an original crowd. I'm a pepper. He's a pepper. She's a pepper. Yep. And I remember, I can almost picture his face. I can almost picture that kid's face dancing in the streets of what I assume is New York, and having a crowd of people synchronized dancing with him. I'm a pepper, he's a pepper, she's a pepper. If you drink Dr. Pepper, you're a pepper too. Be a pepper, drink pepper. All right. Great times. So, folks, join us next week for the Cola Wars. And after that, let's see what's on shortly after that.
I've got to say this.
Please.
Two old guys in their 50s and 60s reminiscing about the 70s and the 80s.
That's it. Two guys in their 50s and 60s talking about the 70s
I like
and 80s.
To put in there two old guys. Two old guys
in their 50s and 60s talking about the 70s and 80s. Yes. I feel so sorry for all the old guys in their 70s and 80s that go, well, what do you mean old? You're only 50 and 60.
Right.
Then there's the 90s and 100s guys. But
so I know you mentioned this, and maybe I shouldn't be asking this.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can cut it out, but where's our jingle? Where's our jingle? Where's
Working on it. Working on it.
Yeah.
I gotta come up with a jingle. I gotta come up
come
with
on,
a jingle.
man. Hey, come on, man. I tuned my guitar just for it. Not that I can play it.
We'll work on that. We'll work on that. And we'll see what we can do to create a jingle for ourselves and stuff. Something very retro, like my Make Room for Javi jingle. For those of you that haven't heard my for those of you that haven't heard my Make Room for Javi jingle with in 4-part harmony, go to javi.com. That's JAVI.com, and you can see our.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
And you can see, well, just be prepared because you watch that once or twice, one of those episodes, and all of a sudden you can't get it out of your head for a week. But it's a beautiful thing, and it's just 4 words. So, folks, thank you one and all for coming. Yeah, Freebird. Al, play Freebird. Okay,
it ain't gonna happen. Okay, I know C, G, and D. That's it.
Oh well, you can almost play. Louie. Anyway, so folks, keep you no longer. Have a wonderful week. Next week is Cola Wars, and I believe the week after that is going to be license plates. We're going to be talking about basically license plates, car styles. Here's one. Do you remember having 2 keys for one car?
2 keys, yes. Yes, I remember. I probably have.
You kind of still have that now, but you do and you don't. You got now. Before it was the trunk key, and it would only open the trunk and the door, and then the other one would be the ignition key.
I have a car still that uses 2 keys. I mean, lucky me, right?
Lucky you. I can deal with that. So, folks, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you all next week. Same bat time, same